hi everybody, and welcome to my shop for another radio. This one, I'm really crossing my fingers. This is going to be easy. I think all it needs is a cleanup. Now, I'm pretty sure this is not a tube radio. I'm pretty sure it's a... Oh! There's a tube in there. Oh, look at this, right off the bat. Antenna strip is... Something's happened to that. Electrohome, another Electrohome, made in Kitchener, Canada. Okay. On off, AM, FM, oh it's an FM radio. Tone control, tuning, ooh, tuning's very stiff. Ooh, needs a lot of lubrication, I think. So, shall we just turn this thing on and see what happens? Hey, that sounds like a fun idea. Let's do that. Okay, it's already plugged in. There we go. If you saw the light flash up here, that's good. And I'm watching the voltmeter here, starting to rise slightly. And then it should go down from there. What's it doing? It's doing some funny things. There it goes. Down she goes. When the voltage is restricted a fair bit, the tubes heat up very, very slowly. It takes a lot longer for a radio to come to life when you have it restricted like this. AM. FM. FM. The FM antenna is the broken part there. That. Wow. There's something. Yeah. No antenna. That's the problem there. Okay, so we'll have to fix up the antenna. That should be easy. So I think this is a pretty straightforward job. Thank God. Clean them up, make them look nice. Was humming just a wee bit. Take a look at that. And yeah, unfortunately the coating here has come off in front. It makes it look very rough down in here, you know, where people's fingers go. And they've kind of rubbed it all off there. Well, this is probably an FM and a stereo indicator light here. So let's pop the back off. So I haven't bothered getting a schematic. Actually, I thought this might be a solid state radio, and now that I know it's a tube radio, maybe I'll go and hunt down the schematic for it. But let's not jump there yet. Dusty, dusty, dusty radio. Tells me no one's had this back off. What's going on here? And there's the FM antenna there. Don't know why it's broken away from the screw connection. The screw connection, this doesn't go anywhere. This is doing nothing. So that's not the best arrangement, is it? And this looks like probably the AM. If you want to extend the AM antenna, you would use this. Well, let's get rid of some of that dust, because I don't like the idea of breathing 30-year-old dust. Fresh dust is fine, but 30-year-old stuff. No vintage dust, please. Okay, here we go. can do a better job once I get the chassis out. A little hard to vacuum some of the areas up in the front, so pull these knobs off. Kind of ugly looking things anyway, aren't they? It's got that strange white stuff that's either a chemical material or a chemical reaction of some sort, or it's something growing on these. And I've seen this on quite a few things over the years. Even big power cables installed underground, a certain type of insulation, I think it was neoprene, developed this kind of stuff. So, okay. Hey, look at that. Tube chart, inspection tag, performance cabinet final. Quote, model serial number and inspection stamp numbers, but there's nothing on there. 1954. January 19th, 1954. Here's the walnut, here's the model. AF-2. Is that an A? I guess that's an A. Funny looking A. Held in by 2 screws, which this one looks cammed. Yeah, that one's taking a bit of a beating. The radio drop out the back? No, still didn't fall out when I took the screws out. How come? How come the radio didn't fall out? Oh, it goes out the front. I wasn't quite expecting that. Caught on something somehow here. Oh. There's a little bracket in here that's, I just loosen it, I think the arm will swing down. And it'll fall out. That's all it took. There we go. So, I think it's one of the few radios I've ever taken out the front. It's a little different. Front panel stays right on the radio, speaker and all. Makes for easy servicing, that's for sure. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look underneath this radio. All kinds of ceramic type capacitors. I don't think I see a single paper one. Unfortunately, I see a molded type here, and I think that might be one there. I'm not sure what that is back in here. But these capacitors are much more rugged, certainly, than the paper type. just want to increase the clearance between that resistor and the case there. It was really close. Everything looks quite fine in here, really. Interestingly enough, this big molded capacitor is connecting to the chassis. Well, this radio does not have a high voltage transformer. It looks like it has a heater transformer here. So the tube lineup is 6AQ8, 6AU6, 6BA6, 6AU6, 35W4, 50C5, 12AV6, 12AL5, 12BE6. That's pretty curious. I'm wondering now if we've got some tubes in series and the rest getting there's like all these 6-volt tubes getting theirs from the transformer. That's what I'm wondering. But there really doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this radio. It just needs a real good cleaning. Maybe a little better treatment with the FM antenna. So let's play it again. This time we'll that's terrible. We'll put something on there as an antenna. Might have a power cord here. Okay, I got a couple of them here. Let's see. Yeah, it goes on there just fine. Yeah, so there we go. Plug it in. Switch on. There goes the light. Watch the voltage again. Remember, it's low, so it takes a long time to warm up. There it goes down. So we know we've got some tubes conducting anyway. You know what? There's no reason to pull these knobs off. I have them off for cleaning now, but I realized I could have left them on because the whole frame has come out. So I'll switch it on. Okay, this is AM. Oh yeah, the tuning. Okay, so what's so stiff? Ooh, this is stiff. Very, very stiff. Yeah, I bet you this is stiff too. The rest of it shouldn't be. These little pulleys should be loose. This is the most likely the culprit there. Hold on. Let's sure looks different when you get a good close look at it. Doesn't it though, eh? Just going to have to apply a little bit of lubrication to those areas. Interesting to see them up close like that. So I'm just dribbling a little bit of sort of WD-40 like stuff here into there. So that was extremely tight, so I'm really suspicious of the down here. See that back part turning. I think the lubrication inside here is where the real problem is. Of course, it's very challenging to get lubricants to go inside something like that. Something's loosening up a little bit. One way to know that the major strain is actually coming from here is that I don't see these strings tightening up in any extraordinary way when I turn this. Push them a bit, I can feel it. Feel the tension. Because there is no tension in the strings really. It's all down in here. Hard on the fingers. This from underneath it here. Checking, make sure it's safe to prop it up like this. So, looking down through here. Don't think you could really see too much there. It certainly has loosened up. Still. Okay, we're on AM. We should be hearing a little more than this. Something kind of funny about that antenna. Let's take a look at it. what's happening here. I was touching this with my finger. Well, that was making it receive. What's going on there? Does that look like a repair? Doesn't that part looks original, but is it this part of the radio is quite exposed, and I'm wondering if somebody maybe got in there and broke this wire here. This is the repair. All this looks quite undisturbed. And then we have that. So, I guess the question would be, is there a problem? It really does look like some kind of repair. Yeah. If it's not a repair, or if it is a repair and it's just fine, everything is fine, I shouldn't bother doing anything with it, then interesting that when I touched it, the radio really perked up. And I did see a debate out there about the ferrite rods, and does their permittivity change, or whatever the key factor is with the rod, as they get older, eventually to the point where you can't really tune the antenna. And from my experience, that seems to be the case. I often find radios with the capacitors turned wide open, and past their limit, so to speak. I'm wondering the same thing. And one of the things I've been doing is I'll squeeze the antenna with my fingers, change its tuning in some way. I'm not exactly sure how, but it certainly does. And if I find this is my theory anyway, a nicely tuned antenna system, if you go to touch it, it only gets worse. It doesn't get better. A poorly tuned antenna system, there's a chance when you touch it, it's going to get better, because you're actually kind of tuning the coil, into resonance, if you like, using your fingers. That's my theory. Tried it on a few radios, haven't tried it recently, and it seemed to hold true. But I'm not sure. So back to the question, why aren't we hearing anything on this radio? There we are, right there.
Because I have sensed it. I hate yourself. So all the packages that we see out there where there's a bigger gap in the actual product and the top of the container should come with a warning label. Hey, we don't fill it up because we're worried.
Based on the solar power that gets it.
À la grâce de Dieu, tu feras comme nous sommes dans la misère. Alors, il y a beaucoup de ces textes-là qui vont participer de cette logique-là.
Mais c'est très fatal. Oui, moi je pensais que c'était des chansons. Les chansons paillardes, c'était joyeux.
C'est très... sont très joyeux. C'est souvent des chansons qu'on...
So this is clearly the lead to the ground, to the chassis. And this lead is heading on towards the radio, so I'm actually touching the lead as it goes into the radio, pretty much just ignoring the tuned antenna. And this looks like the place that's set up for an extension here, an AM radio antenna extension, but it doesn't matter if I do anything with that. So maybe there's no continuity. I can check that easy enough, can't I? Yeah, you know, I think there is no continuity through there, so we'll check that. Well, I can check that right now. Why wait till spring? Okay, what do you think of that? I have my meter here. It's set on the basically continuity tester or diode tester. And you saw it. Yeah, fall over. I'd fall over too. I simply attempted to find out if there was continuity through this antenna coil because of this suspicious area here. And the radio seemed to come to life. Let's tune it a bit. Riddle me that. Not very good, but a little alignment might boost it up. Not sure what the hissy stuff is. Okay, well, let's try it again. If it worked once, it can work even better the second time. The radio's getting nothing out of this antenna. So what I'm trying to do now is touch these various wires and just see how far along the signal goes. For instance, if I touch up here, just come along. phooey on this. Let's scratch open. Let's scratch another opening here. Went silent there for a moment. Let's check it. I don't think we've got to the metal yet. That feels a little more like wire right in there. Maybe not. I thought it would just take a moment to scratch that off. Oh, there. That's the blade touching it, so we know its continuity is good. No reason to do this, but why not? So the coil's tuning is just a mile off. You know, that's what I would start thinking. I'm not sure how I prove that kind of thing. Now, one of the alignment steps will be to adjust the screw on the top of the capacitor, the variable capacitor. But I really want to get the documentation and read a bit. Let's try FM now. Slight difference here. This one's a little. Okay.
Served. And we're taking already been issued. Signal sent back to the States as soon as tomorrow morning.
Can't stay on music too long or I'll get a copyright claim. But it's working not too bad. Needs a better antenna. I've got just a piece of wire on it. It's really not very good. It also has a light right here. You can see it on this side. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry about that. Look at it. Okay, so on the FM here. And we're not on full voltage. Yeah, let's take it up on full voltage. Watch out. Watch out, copyright strikes. So it's a working radio. I think it's more a question of cleaning it up at this point. Fixing up this antenna arrangement here so you can get a proper antenna onto it. That's pretty important. Hum factor? No, there's no hum. Yeah, I don't think there's any hum, so it's very good. All the tubes working. It's good. Antenna, AM antenna, sucks. But when we do the alignment, after I get some information, we'll maybe we can improve on that too. So let's let me just turn the power off here and turn it this way. So you can see it's really dirty down here. The glass is kind of foggy, and maybe it was in a smoker's place for a while. The grill here is filthy. The gold paint is worn off the hand points, the corners. Looks like the dust has stayed out from behind here, pretty much. Some weird stains in here. Yeah, so I think it'll clean up good. Well, don't know what I'll do about this being worn, or if I can do anything. I'll have to separate this from the radio to clean it properly. Let's see what's involved with that. Just a few. Screws, I imagine. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Release the speaker and pull out this little light here. Everything's easier said than done. So let's carry on with that. Now, plastic like this usually has become brittle. This one seems that way to me. So when I go to put these screws in, I want to be very, very careful that they thread in good and don't over tighten them. No points for demonstrating your musculature when you put screws back into this old plastic. And you really don't want to break this stuff. Epoxy can, get you back together again, but it's a hassle. This one's a little different. What's going on here? This is the took apart the wrong thing here. This one's washered up pretty good. So let's come on, little washer. Screw up here. And that's it, it's separate. These in particular, long screws going into that kind of plastic. Oh, I hear the deathly creaks and cracks of fracturing plastic. I mean, the plastic may already be fractured. I don't know. Could have micro fractures. See, this one appears fractured. I'll show you that in a moment. Oh, just pointer. I didn't want that to happen. The last screw is already loose for some reason. Just gently. There we go. There we are. There it is. Now I can do a nice job on this. Look, there's even some green corrosion up in there. Darkish circles around the knobs, those will be tricky. Cleaning in here, it's just going to be a lot of... Is there a cloth on the back or something? No, it's all plastic, so I can soak it. Now what about this? We don't want to get water in here. I want water to get in behind this metal piece, or we'd be better to try to remove it, but that's bad news too. Once we try to remove it, it's almost certainly glued. It's going to bend and kink. One kink, and you're done. So it's going to have to be just taken care of very much to try to keep the water from getting up in behind. Maybe it doesn't matter as much as I'm thinking about other cases where this has been visible from the front. You get water, it kind of gets around the front of some designs, and then you get a stain in between the metal and the plastic. I guess it doesn't matter quite so much with this one. And what other stupid thing could I do here that might ruin it? This lettering. So the lettering is set down into the plastic. Exactly how they put ink in there, I don't know. Look, you can see it's worn here. Probably fairly tough for a reasonable cleaning because it's set down in. It's not. Oh, maybe it's sitting on top. I mean, like some kind of hot process would be used to do that. Now you can see around the edges of the letters there's a, you might even call it a cratering effect, where there's a ridge around the outer edge, like in a crater. But I'm pretty sure no meteors were involved in the making of this. So that's it. So I'm going to go away and clean this guy up, put him back together, and the next time you see him, we'll be looking at how to fix up the antenna situation here, the AM and FM antenna situation. That's good. Thanks for watching.